Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast from South Africa. I've got Victor Cantrina, and he's a digital nomad, and he is a YouTube automation coach with over 5 years of experience. And his USP is he helps people build, grow, and scale their YouTube channel, Faceless YouTube channel. And he monetizes it through ads, and it's really interesting. I'm really happy to have him. I'm really growing on YouTube as well. And so, Victor, welcome.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, honored to be here.
Yeah, briefly describe your background. You grew up in Canada, and then now you're a digital nomad, and talk about your work and your experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I can start a little bit from the beginning and not long-winding it too much, but I was born in Romania. I came to Canada when I was very quite young, so I have to say I'm basically Canadian, but like I was mentioning, I got scared away from the politics and weather, and so now I live abroad in South Africa. But yeah, how my journey started, I actually started on YouTube at the age of 13. That's when my journey first started. Multiple things happened then. I was able to discover a business model online, and second of all, it really just scared me from being an employee because I realized I was able to make money online
Uh,
from just the fruits of my labor, my skill sets I was able to build. So I was doing graphic design and animations. So now what I do today, I got really nerdy back then. I think I'm still very nerdy today, but I was really interested in graphic design. So I just developed these skill sets with Photoshop and After Effects, and I just was showcasing my skills. And people would come to me and be like, "Hey, can you make me this and this?" And I begged my parents for a PayPal account because I was too young to make money. And they did. And then from there on, I just started making money. By the time I was like 17, I had a custom computer. So I was making, again, pretty good money relative to a 16, 17-year-old. But again, what it did was it opened Pandora's box. It really just showed me that there's another whole side of life and business and making money that's not really, that's not as restrictive as having to go down the traditional path. And so from there, again, it was explosive for me. I realized entrepreneurship was a thing. I was very passionate about it. And so I pursued it. And I tried a bunch of different business models. I didn't get as lucky with everything else as I did with YouTube the first time around. I tried drop shipping and Amazon, FBA, and I bought vending machines and ATMs, and I joined way too many MLMs to be proud of. And the whole journey was just one after another, attempting and attempting. And I made some money, but nothing to really brag about. So most of them I would consider failed attempts. But what was beautiful and a huge emphasis on my journey actually is how much I failed. I really, truly, and I'm proud to say it, I failed so much in so many different businesses. But it was the fact that I failed, is the fact that I kept pushing is why I'm here today, why I'm able to see the level of success that I have today, is because I was able to really harness that energy and those experiences to develop skill sets, resilience, willpower, etc., to bring me to where I am today. And so I always emphasize people like, what's something that you would take away from your past, and what can you pass on to everyone else? And like, just fail forward. Always look forward to failure. And there's always an amazing experience or skill set that's developed in that situation. And I can give you a really good example. So I tried, again, drop shipping. I tried the Amazon stuff. I tried a bunch of different things and the graphic design, all these things that didn't really play out. And at the time, it didn't make sense. Like it was just wasted time developing skills. But then I launched a marketing agency and I got that thing to 30K a month fairly quickly.
mm,
Why? Because there was all these different skill sets that was necessary for me to scale that business. Facebook ads, I had to learn that to scale my drop shipping. Website design, I had to learn that for this. All these different skill sets that really were seemingly useless really came into play. So I do truly believe that with everything comes experiences and skills that will play their part in the future if you do it with intention. And so yeah, marketing agency was great. And I ran that up for a while, but COVID came and COVID did what it does best. And it destroyed my company. My fault. I only relied on local clients. I was specializing in dealerships and they all shut down when COVID came and no one's buying cars. No one can buy cars. And yeah, so they didn't need me. I was the first person to go and they all let go of me right around the same time. And so I went from on top of the world to basically picking through my couch for change. Like I really just, there was no income coming in. Luckily, of course, I had a bunch of money saved up. But at that point in time, just to understand how I transitioned back to YouTube. So when I was 17, the reason why I stopped YouTube is because my channel got terminated.
uh,
No notice, no description, nothing. They literally told me no reason. It got terminated. I still to this day scratching my head. That was okay. It sucked at the time, but it's okay. That's why I moved on, passed on. But then when COVID came and I lost all my clients, I got an email from Google, YouTube, saying they reinstated my YouTube account
hmm,
almost like a decade later, like literally out of the blue. It was the most random email I'd ever received. And they're like, hey, sorry. Actually, they didn't even apologize. They just said, hey, your account's back. Could have
interesting.
at least apologized. Yeah. But They didn't, and that's fine. I was like, okay, you know what? I lost all my clients. I truly wasn't that fulfilled in what I was doing. I was making good money, but I really felt very much so a slave to the business. All these clients were really just like bosses, glorified bosses. I felt like I had golden shackles. I was making a ton of money, but I really felt like I was sacrificing in suffering in many other ways in my life, my relationships, my finance or my health. Everything was really not that great, just the finances, which is never a good formula for balance. And so I figured, okay, I can go back and fix this. I could find some online clients and prevent these things, but am I truly happy? And then I reflected back when I was like a young 15, 16-year-old YouTuber. I was like, I love that part of my life. I need to bring that back and my channel's back. So I ran with it. I dissolved the entire company. I took all my savings. I jumped into YouTube. I knew about this automation model. I went heavy into it. And it took me like 8 to 12 months. It took me a while, to be honest, to figure it out. It was not a code that I was thinking was going to be so difficult to crack, but I eventually got it at my first viral channel, then another viral channel, and then so on and so forth, and just kept scaling. And then from there, naturally, people around me, friends, family, they were like, what are you doing right now? It's making so much money and you're just chilling on your laptop. And so, yeah, word got out. I started teaching some friends and family. They started making money. And I was like, okay, I'm like, it's not just for me. It's a bit of a repeatable process if you have the right, foundation, the right systems, some guidance. And so again, more word got out and I was like, okay, I'm spending way too much time teaching these people. I'm taking away from my work. Let me streamline this process. I'm going to make some videos. So I made some videos. I posted them on YouTube for convenience. They went viral. Like they went crazy, hundreds of thousands of views. I still have them to this day. And I was like, whoa, okay, there's a lot of people that want to know this. It's seemingly a great model. And then I just was like, okay, I think something else is drawing me in this direction. I'm going to, fixate on that. And so I made more and more videos. I ended up building a community. That community got really like huge and very like almost cult-like. They're like really passionate about learning YouTube. And I ended up building this big thing. And then eventually people were like, just launch a course. I'd love to learn more, put it all there. We'll pay you for it. I was like, I've never built a course before. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I did. And it went great. And it was super, super successful, not just for me, but in terms of the amount of results that it was producing, like for the students. And that was incredible that I was like, wow, I spent all this time building all this IP and going through all this shit because it sucked for a while. And to the point where I'm like, I'm able to provide this value, like everything, all the experiences that I've been, positive and negative. So all my failures were in there too. So I still failed for a while. I told you, I messed up so many different channels and niches and attempts and strategies that I tried. I was able to put that all in there and basically teach people what not to do. Because that's such a powerful thing to have, is the knowledge of what not to do so they can just hyperfixate on what you should do. And so that was a huge change. And then from there, I was like, again, I can't do all this on my own. I need some teams. So I had some really successful students that wanted to coach with me, to help me. And then naturally, the inception of a coaching program came. So now we have 9 calls a week, 5 coaches, hundreds of students, like upwards of almost 800 students, big program, lots of success. Actually, my biggest accomplishment to date is that I have more students who make money than not, which is a beautiful stat that I like to talk about. But yeah, that's my short, long journey in essence.
Interesting. Yeah, it's quite interesting. And so talk about YouTube automation. And a lot of people, I think YouTube is one of the hardest places to grow because your stuff has to be really good. And it's like the competition is just, there's so many good talent out there. So what's the difference between Faceless and a face when like a YouTube podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So basically the two are the personality based channels and then the faceless. So personality, it goes without saying, you got to show your face on camera. Just be that personality, right? Be that influence to other people. The one caveat is that you got to be that person and you have to show up. If you're sick, if you're tired, you want to go on vacation, dog died, whatever it is, you got to show up. That's the one thing. It's a commitment versus the other side. And that's fine. By the way, the personality side is incredible. If you want to build a personal brand, you can leverage it immensely. There's so much intrinsic benefit of having a personality channel and being a personality, but it's a commitment, right? You got to show up. Otherwise, people forget about you. That's just how the internet works. But then you have this faceless side that's just it's so interesting because the show always goes on no matter what. So if someone decides to stop working, you can just replace them. And so what we're doing is we're creating an assembly line. You have your script writing, your voiceover, your video editing, and thumbnail. Those are the 4 parts that create a video. And so normally, especially as a personality, you have to gain all those skill sets yourself. You got to learn how to script your own videos, how to edit them, how to film them, how to be good on camera, how to do the thumbnails, all that stuff. Those are skills you need to build, which once you have them, it's great. But for many people, it's just difficult. So we can actually leverage other people's expertise by hiring expert freelancers overseas to do that for us. So we find expert script writers, expert voiceover artists, video editors, thumbnail artists. And that's how we build these videos. By basically, we're steering the ship and everyone else is rowing, right? They're what's harnessing and fueling everything, but it's our job to steer them in the right direction. So it's your job to be the expert of whatever niche you choose. It could be sports, philosophy, tech, history, celebrity, whatever it is. You find something that's passionate to you, create a channel, and then you hire a team to create the videos for you. You have to come up with the ideas yourself, though. That's your job. That's where your expertise lies. That's where the real money is made, by really knowing the supply and demand of your respective niche. Hopefully that kind of sheds some light.
Yeah. In regards niche selection and market research, how do you know what's profitable niches that work for automation?
Yeah, realistically, you want to see other niches, like other channels that are doing it too. So if you pick a niche, but it's predominantly all personality, like you don't really see any people with other face, probably not a good niche, right? But most niches genuinely are doable in a faceless manner. And so how do we determine if a niche is good? You want to see a lot of competition, not too much competition to the point where it's nearly impossible, but you want to see new channels popping up that are doing really good. If you see a bunch of new channels coming up and they're struggling, that means it's probably a bad direction to look into. But if you see a channel, a niche with a bunch of little channels that are popping up left and right, and they're all doing really good, that's the indicator. So we have these kind of strategies, these formulas that we look for, in which we can determine whether a niche is still right for the taking, or maybe it's a little bit too competitive. And really, to be very transparent, like when you get to a specific skill level, I look at things completely different. Like I don't look at market saturation, I look at market sophistication, right? Everything becomes competitive in any industry, in any business. It's your job as a business owner to understand that happens no matter what, to adapt to it, and to believe in, again, to have that mindset of market sophistication. You always need to find your own unique edge. What can you do that makes your content a little bit different? Whether you make it funnier, make it animated, and you do it a little bit longer than the rest of the guys, whatever it is, you got to find your own edge to defeat and combat natural competition and saturation, right?
Yeah. Interesting. A couple of the channels, the faceless, are the kind of like the music ones, and then there's podcasts as well, which is also, and then there's also ones where they've got like a background and moving, and then it's like the person talking, but it's just their voice and there's scripts. So how do you determine what is what?
In terms of what kind of content is what, or like how does it work? I just want to better understand.
Yeah, like which and in terms of like content and creation and scripting, and what strategies do you recommend? I was just giving two examples: creating engaging content without showing your face.
Yeah, really, it's all niche dependent. So some channels, some niches are like compilations, right? It's like top 10 or the best 3 automatic vacuum cleaners or whatever. That's like an affiliate style channel. So then you're just emphasizing 3 different styles of robot cleaners and then showcasing them, and then you put some affiliate links. And that script style is going to be very different than like a documentary, right? So it's always dependent on the niche. A documentary style, you really want to hyperfixate on storytelling, having a really engaging, gravitating hook with pattern interrupts and cliffhangers and rehooks and all these different story formats that you want to integrate. So every single kind of niche and style of content is going to require a different level of, or different style of writing. So it's not a one size fits all. It's really dependent on what your audience wants and what they're looking for. Yeah, hopefully that answers there.
Yeah. And then you were talking about outsourcing and team building, and how can beginners outsource tasks like script writing, voiceovers, and video editing effectively?
Great question. So here's where the shift in YouTube really shines its light, because the shift in society in general. We used to outsource everything to freelancers overseas, which to a degree we still do, but really not anymore. AI has stepped up its game significantly. I never believed in AI. I did in general, but just not for YouTube, because we uphold very high standards for the content that our students put out, whatever I put out. Because you mentioned earlier, like the quality is very important. It's very competitive and people are very good at what they do. And so there's a lot of people posting high quality videos. And that's actually the key. The reason why they do good is because they post quality videos. And the reason why many people fail on YouTube is because they post garbage videos and pray that millions of people will watch them, but they don't even want to watch it themselves, which is great. But what we do is we post really high quality videos. And so when we're creating them, that's a standard. We have a standard of excellence that we maintain. And I never felt like AI was there. It was never there until 4 or 5 months ago, max. Now, script writing completely outsourced by AI. Voiceovers completely done by AI. It's you cannot tell the difference between AI voiceovers and human voiceovers. Like we have some incredibly high-end voiceover softwares that we provide our students. Thumbnails done by AI, it's 10 times better to get thumbnails, hyper realism, whatever you can imagine in your mind, you can create with AI, and it comes out perfect once you understand it. And now we're even getting to the point where some videos, some niches, not all niches, but some niches, AI video. And so we've
Wow.
basically, unfortunately, replaced a large population of people who relied on these jobs, which is just the reality of AI and how it's emerging into the market. But yeah, we now basically do everything with AI. It's also dropped the cost 70%. So it's just been an even better, bigger stride of opening up the gates of YouTube to people where we can create not just content, but extremely high quality content at a fraction of the cost.
Hmm. Yeah, and I've used AI as well, and it's gotten really good in terms of script writing. And are you referring to ChatGPT, or are there other script writing software? VoiceOver, I've used the script, but it's okay. It's not the best. But what software would you recommend?
Yeah. So we do leverage like public LMs, like language models, like ChatGPT, like Claude, but we do not, it's not going to be a situation where you jump in ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a 10-minute script on this topic. You will get an awful script. You'll get the ones where it's like, hey, welcome to the channel. My name is this. And like old school scripts, they're never going to convert. So we give the students, we provide our students like custom prompted GPTs. So we use public LMs like Claude, like ChatGPT, but we in the back end, we input like pages upon pages of knowledge base where we understand like what an exceptional script looks like and what an awful script looks like. And we train it on both so it understands the differences. It knows exactly how long a hook should be, if it should have a question, a statement, a fact, how it should transition from the body to the intro, like very like micro analytical details of scripts that we've basically analyzed from hundreds of different winning scripts in different niches, right? So documentary style, compilation style. So we've already gone out of our way to do all that research. So now that GPT knows, because when you start asking it questions, it'll ask you, okay, what's your niche? What's the length? What's the desired outcome? What's the topic? All these different things. And using its knowledge base, it'll now spit out. You can now ask it a simple prompt. Like I said, write me a 10-minute script on XYZ topic. It's going to do an incredible job because behind it is all that. So yes, we do use ChatGPT and Claude. I love those two. And then for voiceovers, I can put you on some sauce. Art List is the most incredible sounding voiceovers, human-like, indistinguishable to humans. It
Wow.
costs a little bit more, but you physically cannot tell the difference between that and humans. And it's still a fraction of the cost of hiring a real person.
Wow. Interesting. The other question is YouTube is the second largest search engine. And so, what are key YouTube SEO strategies that help automated channels get more views?
Yeah, great question. So it's a very interesting, almost paradoxical answer that like it depends on the style of content that you're doing. I don't focus on search-based channels. Like I don't really focus too much on keywords.
Hmm.
There's a whole new area of YouTube which doesn't require, it's not really keyword dominant.
Mhm.
So back in the day, everything was focused on optimizing for SEO, optimize for SEO keywords. That was everything that everyone knew and it worked. But now we optimize for humans. So we optimize for emotions
Wow.
because humans like lead the platform. Humans drive the platform. And so, of course, the algorithm needs to know how to find the right people. So you still need to input the keywords, but it's not necessarily driven by keywords, it's driven by emotions. And so when we create titles, now we create them based on emotions. What kind of emotion can we invoke through the title and thumbnail package? I literally I have a whole section in my course, and it's huge and it's very deep and extremely necessary, where I
Um,
teach psychology. I have to literally teach psychology so you understand how the human mind works and what it responds to and how it responds to certain words and colors. So you can create that in your packaging, your thumbnails and titles. It's gone that deep where you need to, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but you need to know how the mind works to attract the audience and make them feel certain things, how you make them feel angry, sad, whatever, the desires. You really play on emotions to get them to click. Because the issue is, if you don't do that, the people that do know how to do it will, and they're going to steal the click every single time, and you get left behind, right? So it's an evil necessity that you need to learn, which is just learning. It's marketing 101. This is not what I'm talking about. Is the same thing that Apple does, same thing that your local grocery store does. That's what they do. They advertise. We're advertising our videos. We want you to click on our videos versus the competitors' videos, and these are the necessary steps that are there. You need to learn to captivate the viewers. So really everything is driven. There's sometimes like you see a title and it's just there's barely any SEO in it. You don't even see the keywords, but you read it and it makes you feel something and you click it. I'll give you one great example. Maybe you've seen this, you likely have, and if not, I'll explain it. But have you ever been on your home screen? You go to YouTube, you go to home screen, and then you see a random video, somebody you've never watched, and then there's a thumbnail, it's just like their face, it's like a raw video, they're just like in their room, whatever. And then the title is, if you're seeing this, you need to watch, you're going through a hard time, you need to watch this video right now. If you're seeing this, it's here for a reason. And you click, it has no context. And you're like, what the heck is this video doing? It's so random. And then you just click it because you're curious. That's psychology right there. Brilliant psychology. And something, it's stuff like that. That's the precedent to where YouTube is going now, is really like emotional, psychologically based.
We're coming to the end, and where do you see the future of YouTube automation evolving, and what trends should creators watch for?
Where is it evolving? I'll tell you one thing. This is a really cool statistic. So recent update, 4.6 billion monthly active users on YouTube. Enormous. 2% of the 4.6 billion are creators. Okay. So it's a micro. I know we're saying it's competitive, and it is competitive. I'm not denying that. But we're still scratching the nipple of the iceberg in terms of competition. It's really such a blue ocean opportunity.
Wow.
And so also, by the way, like 80% of the 2% are personality channels. So only 20% of 2% of 4.6 billion are faceless creators. So this industry I'm talking about specifically is really, it's not even prevalent in retrospect. So the future is here. Long form content is incredibly lucrative for many different businesses, for everything, learning things, whatever it is. Like there's always going to be a demand and a desire for long form content. And the next one that's even bigger that's coming up is podcasts, right? What we're doing today, less long form. Now YouTube used to be long form content. Now podcast is long form content. YouTube is like mid form content. Yeah. TikTok and Instagram is like short form. So yeah, it's a beautiful parallel. You want to tap into all three, but it's just, yeah, you want to get on and learn how to attract attention, how to attract an audience. When you know how to attract people online and bring people to you, you'll never go hungry. I can promise you that, because that's what the most expensive currency is. The most valuable currency on earth right now is attention. It's not money. It's billionaires. They all got billions of dollars. It's not even who has more money. It's who has more attention. And so you want to harness that skill set right now to learn that, because as soon as you have that, you have also what they have. That's what they're all fighting for. And you can basically, without being too cheesy, make an infinite amount of money, because that's really how it works. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. And share some success stories of people who quit their 9-to-5 jobs using YouTube automation, and how can people find you and follow you and learn more from you?
Yeah, it's a great finisher for sure. I have two examples top of mind. One is a recent one. He lives in Canada. He did, in 6 months' time, $27,000 a month, which is an anomaly. I have to admit that's not a common result whatsoever, but it's a really cool result because it's the fastest and most amount of money that's ever been made from one of my students, at least. But that's again, an anomaly. My favorite one is Rose. She's 63 years old. She joined my program. She had not like no technical experience, but I have to say like negative technical experience. Like she really came in, and not to be rude at all, but she had no idea of how computers work. I had to help her get rid of some viruses on her computer before she could use her computer. I had to help her create a Gmail because she was using AOL, like really far behind. And again, I'm not saying to be rude, just to show with her lack of experience, like really deficit of experience, she now makes $5,000 a month with her channel. And that's incredible. Mind you, yes, it did take her significantly longer than all the other students, but I don't care. That's such a minor detail, because what it showed me is that literally anyone at any stage of life can do this with very limited experience, no experience at all. It was doable. And of course, she had to work a little bit harder than everyone else. But at the end of the day, to know that you can make 5K a month or 3K a month, whatever it is, online from YouTube, from the comfort of your home, anywhere you want to be, and know that it comes in month after month because of the effort that you put in to create those videos that now live on the internet forever. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Final question is that you mentioned this whole journey, and starting from just it sounds like tinkering, and then you finally had this aha moment from early stage to where you are now. How long would you say for people thinking about, because like I said, YouTube is really, and these stories are incredible. So how long did it take you from when you started to where you are now? 10 years, 5 years?
If you add up all the businesses, I'd say I really took business serious around 17, and I'm 29 now. So 12 years there. But YouTube specifically, because that's like the main thing. I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. It took me about 8 months to get my first like channel off the ground, which is as long as if you go to Google and they type in like how long does it take for someone to start making money to get monetized, it's 8 to 12 months. That's actually after they start making their first dollar. That's when I made like a big hit. But
Uh-huh.
now my students, because I've obviously spent so many years and I understand the nuances and some systems and tools that really expedite the process, my students start making money within 2 to 3 months.
Mm,
That's when they start making money. By month 6, you really have a cash flowing asset
mhm.
within 6 months. So that's very conservative, very average. But it is a 6 month grind. I expect anyone who works with me, don't expect anything overnight. This is not those get rich quick overnight things at all. I don't even like to work with people who have that mentality. I'm here for the long-term gratification, build something now that's going to be there for the next 5, 10 years. That's the kind of business that we build and people we want to work with.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Very. And how can people find out more about you? Visit your YouTube channel and check your work out.
Yeah, for sure. So YouTube channel is fine. You could probably link some of those there, but my Instagram is probably the best because if you have any additional questions, you want to learn more about how it works, so just hop on a call with me personally. That's perfectly fine. We can just chat it up and then we can book you in. But yeah, my Instagram, I'm sure you'll leave a link, but it's Vic. So ITSVICKK. That's just my personal IG that you guys can just connect with me on.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks so much and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Christopher. It was a pleasure. Take care, brother.